New York City Schools Chancellor David Banks took over the Department of Education. The schools were in a crisis.
Yes, children were headed back to the classroom amid a massive Omicron surge. There were calls for a pivot to remote learning, and then more than 30% of students were absent each day. Now that the Omicron crisis has eased, the school's chancellor can focus on laying out his vision for the future of New York City schools, offering plans for major changes.
And he's got those major changes coming up. Joining us right now, New York City Schools Chancellor David Banks. Always great to have you right here on Good Day.
Thank you so much. So it's a real pleasure to see you both.
So yesterday you laid out a plan. The head of the UFT, which is the teachers union, said basically change comes slowly. Can you afford to wait?
No, there's a real sense of urgency to begin to turn this system around. When you have a system where 65% of black and brown kids never achieve academic proficiency, essentially don't even learn to read, you can't approach that in a slow manner and just accept that. We want to push for dramatic change and as quickly as we possibly can. The system is broken in so many ways. It's pretty amazing. For a system that spends $38 billion a year, we've not provided enough of our students real opportunity to achieve the American dream. And I want to change that. I don't want to lose any more kids. I
don't blame you. $38 billion is a lot of money. And will heads roll?
Oh yeah, well certainly we're gonna transform this system. One of the things I announced yesterday was that we're eliminating the executive superintendent's position. It's a level of bureaucracy that, to the tune of millions of dollars, that was added. It was completely unnecessary. That was just the first step. There are many other aspects of the Department of Education that I'm reviewing currently, and this is just the beginning. There's a lot more change that's still coming.
I do want to ask you about the change, but I think a lot of people watching, maybe their parents or just viewers in general, they kind of want you to dive into what you mean by the system is broken. Maybe you can explain some of those top things, because that's when you said it's amazing, it'd probably be amazing to us to find out what those things are.
Listen, when I first came into the job, one of the things that I was told was that I better get my hand around special education, because if we didn't, the federal government was about to take it over and put a federal monitor here. So the whole issue of special education and students who are in need of real services and not getting the services, and parents who are having to sue the system, and a backlog of cases, it's just amazing what's happening there. All kinds of issues with respect to enrollment, lack of gifted and talented programs, and the call to cut those programs back. A lot of special programs that we have in our system that are part of the reason why a lot of families would stay in the system were being told that those programs were going away. Our early childhood education programs, lots of challenges, lots of issues, lots of wasted monies. And so these are all the things that I'm uncovering even as I'm here, and I've got to lay out that plan to fix it.
Yeah, the transformation, we certainly wish you luck with it. I want to ask you about the mask mandate kind of easing its way out of the school system. Say something else, another variant comes along. Are you prepared to implement that right back again? And how much opposition do you think you're going to be facing if that does happen?
Well, certainly, our schools are part of mayoral control, mayoral accountability. And so I work very closely with the mayor as we make those decisions around whether or not schools are going to open or close. God forbid that we have another variant that comes along. But if we do, we have to be prepared to do whatever is necessary to keep all of our children and our teachers safe, and that we will be prepared to do that. We've learned a lot in the midst of this crisis that I think will better prepare us for the future.
So yesterday you talked about over 120,000 students have left the New York City school system. Could that number be higher? And that's going to hurt the city budget, because you get paid basically by the student, don't you?
That's right. It's already beginning to hurt. We can't afford to lose our students and our families. And too many of our families have looked at what we've been providing here at the New York City Public Schools and have said, I want to make other choices for my family. That we've broken the trust with so many families, and it's been hemorrhaging in many ways. And so it's now my job to rebuild that trust, to rebuild the kinds of programs that entice parents to come back, as well as encourage all of our families who are here to continue to stay. That's what I want to do. We've had a scarcity model that we work from, where there's a handful of special programs, and then we have our parents fighting each other over those handful of programs. I want to expand those programs. Together with Mayor Adams, that is our vision, is to expand on excellence, expand on the good things that are working, scale, sustain, and restore what works. You know, Rosanna, there are a lot of great things that are happening in our schools that many parents and families don't know anything about. I'm going to lift those things up. I'm going to share the good news that's happening all around this city as well, because I believe that the transformation, the answers to transforming our system exists from the bottom up, not the top down. And there's a lot of good work that is actually happening that no one knows anything about.
Well, I feel your enthusiasm, but, you know, people who have been successful in New York City schools, who loved the gifted and talented programs or the accelerated programs, it was almost like they were being penalized because they were smart in the school system. And that's why parents were pulling their kids out. They couldn't go to their neighborhood school. They were being penalized because their kids were too smart.
It's really just been incredible. I mean, if you want to create a blueprint for like doing this the wrong way, look no further than right here. And that's a challenging thing for a chancellor to have to say.
Yeah.
But the reality is that at so many levels of what I've been looking at, you say, what are we doing? Are we just trying to get all of our parents to leave? Don't we want parents and kids to be a part of our school system? We have to do a better job. I'm going to be a champion for dramatically changing the system and making it a system again that really will be the envy of the country. It's going to take a lot of work for us to do that. But that's what I'm committed to.
Well, I know you did it before. You have a track record. We always like having you on Good Day New York, Chancellor David Banks, and we're going to be keeping a close eye.
Please do. Please do.
All right.
And I'll be reaching back out to you. We're going to need your help as well.
We're here for you. Thank you so much, Chancellor.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Are you stepping in, substitute?
I'm ready. You know, I can be a little bossy.
I'd like to see you teach a couple classes and step in. All right.
I don't know what classes. I can take up to 5th grade math, I think.